Hey everyone, before I get started I just wanted to give a quick explanation for what's going on. Now, I've been working on a big project lately, that's why I haven't really had the time to work on the episode reviews, but this week's episode, Amending Fences, really felt like something special and I wanted to put something together for it really quick. And what I came up with turned out to be really different and a lot more personal than what I normally do here. So with that in mind, let me know what you think, and don't worry, I'm still going to be making regular episode reviews later. And with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy. When I was a kid, I was painfully shy, and it was really difficult for me to open up to anyone. In high school, I started taking theater classes, which is where I discovered how much I love performing, especially telling jokes and making people laugh. I also met someone there who I quickly became friends with, which was actually pretty extraordinary in itself, because as far as I knew at the time, everyone, and I do mean everyone, fucking hated me. I had to deal with bullies on a daily basis, so to finally have a friend who I instantly connected with, who I could just have a normal conversation with every day, that really meant a lot to me. Unfortunately, my parents had already decided that we were moving at the end of the school year. So here I was, this shy, awkward kid, finally learning to open up, having just met someone who, to this day, turned out to be the most awesome friend I've ever had in my life, and in the back of my mind, I was already telling myself it was all going to fall apart at the end of the year. I actually went into a pretty bad depression after that, and as for that guy who I became friends with, he ended up becoming a fairly well-known internet personality. So now I'm in this weird position where I see him all the time when I'm online, but I can't talk to him anymore without looking like some crazy fanboy. Another time more recently, I think it was 2009, sometime before I became a brony, I was in an anime club where I already had a reputation for being the funny guy of the group, but one day, Dawn, the host of the club, had noticed that I was still kind of a dork when it came to talking to people seriously, and so she suggested that we should start hanging out together, specifically with the intention of helping me improve my social skills. This, frankly, blew my mind. No friend had ever offered to do that for me before, and I'm far too honest with myself in real life to turn something like that down, so I said sure. Before we ever had a chance to hang out though, Dawn announced that she was moving out of state. Yeah, here's the most generous thing any friend has ever offered to do for you. By the way, I'm leaving forever. So if it isn't already obvious, Amending Fences hit me really fucking hard. Watching Moondancer was a lot like watching myself. More specifically, she's like a cross between Twilight, Fluttershy, and Luna, the three characters who I happen to identify with the most. Like Twilight, Moondancer is dedicated to studying and prides herself on being a smarty smart. Admittedly, I was also the same way back when I was in school. Not so much after I got out, though. But the main difference is that Twilight was never shy. For her, going to a party really isn't all that difficult, she just sees it as a waste of time because there are more important things to worry about. But for Moondancer, going to that party took everything she had, and when one of her most important friends didn't show up, then left town, then moved away without saying anything, only to show up a year later being crowned as a goddamn alicorn princess, even calling herself the princess of friendship of all things, that absolutely destroyed her. And not in a dramatic way, but quietly, just making her fade into the background where no one even noticed. Now, I've been reviewing My Little Pony ever since season 2. Do you know why I'm one of the only pony reviewers who's been around that long and yet I never seem to collaborate with anyone? Well, back in season 2, someone did try to collaborate with me. Now, you can probably guess where this is going, but yes, I at least made sure that he was a legitimate reviewer first. In fact, he even went on later to collaborate with Dr. Wolf. So at the time, I was nervous, but I figured it could still be fun, and it would be a good way for me to get more involved with the analysis community. This person then spent the entire time screaming at me over Skype, and I mean everything I did set this guy off. Now, to be fair, some of it was my fault for making mistakes here and there, but most of the time, it just seemed like he was losing his mind over insignificant shit. In fact, do you want to know the most offensive thing that I did? The single event that pissed this guy off more than anything else. Are you ready? I wrote a rough draft without asking his permission. Seriously, you would have thought I committed a hate crime or something, but no! I had to endure a barrage of world-ending hate fuckery over a goddamn rough draft. But still, you know, I tried to roll with the punches. I even tried to work it into the review as a sketch. Like, I'd be this doofy idiot who kept fucking everything up, and then the other guy could just yell at me the whole time because of what a shithead I was being. I mean, you can imagine that, right? How fucking hilarious would that be? But no, he didn't like that idea. So instead, when we finally got the review written, it was the most bland, vanilla-ass thing I had ever worked on. There was nothing fun about it, there was nothing creatively satisfying about it. This guy had zero regard for any of my input. I really have no idea why he even wanted to collaborate in the first place. But what finally made me put my foot down was right at the end. He wanted to act like we were good buddies. Fuck you, dude. The review's already terrible, you already killed any enthusiasm I had for the project, but I will not lie and pretend to be your friend when you did nothing but treat me like garbage the entire time. So there, for everyone who's been wondering what happened to my last Roundup review, that's what happened to the last Roundup review. But wait, it gets better, because after I canceled the review, that guy, this asshole reviewer, began stalking me. It was the first time I had ever had to block anyone on any website that I'm on, let alone all of them. And so I retreated back to working by myself and staying in my comfort zone. Because why bother? This kind of shit happens to me every time I try to put myself out there in a meaningful way. And now, when I turn on the show and see a nerdy shy moonhorse gathering all of her courage to try and make some new friends, just to have a normal social life, only for it to blow up in her face in the exact way that it did, my first thought is, why is this real? Why is it real? It's a cartoon about talking horses that use magic. It's not supposed to be real. Not this real. Still made for a damn good episode, though.